Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Precious Metal Summit Zurich in the virtual format and with Commodity TV. And we want to talk now to Arizona Sonoran Copper. And with us here is George Ogilvie, the President and CEO. Good morning to Canada. How are you doing? Or even to the US.
Well, thank you, Johan. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. Very interesting. I think a big day for you guys today because you IPO'd today finally, and you came out of a share consolidation and the former company was named Elim Mining. So maybe you can give us a little bit of a perspective because most of the viewers might really not know who you are, what the company is, and then we take it from there.
Arizona Sonoran controls 100% ownership in the Cactus mine. It's located in Arizona. It's a former producing mine that was owned by ASCU in the 1970s and 80s. And over its 10 years of commercial production, it produced on average 20 million pounds of copper cathode annually. The company's just released a preliminary economic assessment in the last 3 months, and it's currently showing that we have an 18-year life of mine. On average, we would produce 56 million pounds of copper on an annual basis. And when we look at a $3.35 copper price, it actually gives us an NPV after tax of approximately $312 million US dollars using an 8% discount factor and an IRR after tax of 33%.
Okay, wow, that sounds fantastic. Okay, before we dive a little bit more into, let's say, PEA, PFS, which is probably the next thing. So the IPO brought you approximately 47 million Canadian dollars into the company. I saw in the press release it should be 60 million, but I think there was something with an NSR paying off some debt, etc. So can you please give our viewers a bit of an insight into that construction, how you did that, and how many shares are now outstanding, and how does it work?
Yeah, we were initially looking to raise 60 million Canadian dollars as we launched the IPO, but two of our major shareholders, which are Tembo Capital and RCF, they gave us written notification that they wanted to convert 12 million Canadian dollars into a 3.18% NSR, which we were budgeting in the use of proceeds to repay in January of 2022. So that reduced the requirement on the use of proceeds from 60 million down to 48 million Canadian dollars. Hence the reason why we raised that amount in the IPO. Today, the company, as far as its share capital is concerned, we have 70 million shares issued, and on a fully diluted basis, we're sitting at 79 million shares, and at a $2.45 Canadian issuance price, that would value the company in and around about 170 million Canadian dollars. Mm-hmm. And as I said earlier on, you know, with the project PEA, we're looking at something that's well in excess of 300 million US dollars on a net present value basis. So when we did the IPO, Johan, what we tried to do was we looked at our peer groups, and based on a $2.45 Canadian share price, that would value the company in and around about a 0.35 times price to net asset value. And when we look at our peer groups such as Trilogy or Marimaca, even Foran Mining, they're trading anywhere between a 0.6 and a 1 times price per NAV, with the average actually being 0.7. So I think over time, over the next 6 to 12 months, as we communicate our business plan and we continue to put out good press releases, I think there's every opportunity that the stock is going to re-rate up to the same sort of metrics that our peer group see. And if that were the case, then we should see at least a 50, if not 100% increase in the share price over the next 12 months.
Okay, fantastic. So coming to 2022, you have the pockets full of cash, I would call it, which is always nice to have. And for sure, you will spend it wisely. So what would be your next immediate steps? PEA, you said already in our pre-conversation, a PFS is something you want to do, of course. And what is also going on with permitting as you are in Arizona, which is a mining state?
Yeah, so we've started the pre-feasibility study, and it's due to come to the market in the summer of 2022. In the second quarter of next year, we'll start the bankable feasibility study. So there's a bit of an overlap between the PFS finishing and the BFS actually starting. The bankable feasibility study would be completed at the end of calendar 2022. And based on the PEA, once the project financing is in place, we would see about an 18-month construction and development period to first production. Currently, right now in the PEA, the project capital requirement is sitting at $124 million US dollars, which includes the working capital component. So assuming the project financing is in place at the end of next year and an 18-month construction and development period, we would see first production coming out from the mine in the second half of 2024, followed by commercial production being declared early in calendar 2025.
Fantastic. What mine life could you imagine as an initial, as at the start, initial mine life?
Well, the current PEA is showing an 18-year mine life with 56 million pounds of copper cathode being produced annually. That means over the 18 years, we're producing about 1 billion pounds of copper from the Cactus mine. You should note, however, that the current National Instrument 43-101 compliant resource statement actually has globally 3.5 billion pounds of copper actually in the ground, of which 2.5 billion pounds of that is approximately leachable material, which is the oxides and the enriched material that we're going after with this business plan of using, leaching pads with a solvent extraction electrowinning plant, processing the pregnant leach solution. So a very robust base case plan, but what I'm saying is there's lots of organic growth opportunity from within the existing pit and from the underground to see that mine life both pushed out and the average annual production, growing well above the 56 million pounds we're looking at. In fact, within the company, we think that we can ultimately get this up to 100 million pounds of copper cathode production on an annual basis based on that organic growth.
Okay. What is your feeling for all-in costs? I know you are just in the pre-feasibility study, but what is your feeling what you might can achieve below $2 per pound copper?
Yeah, the PEA currently reveals on a C1 cash cost basis, we're looking at $1.55 US per pound of copper. And then all-in sustaining costs, we're currently showing $1.88 US per pound. So quite competitive.
Super, yeah, that sounds really great to me, because all in we can say maximum $2, but then it's really all in, right? And this is where the margin comes from. Yeah, I personally see copper much higher anyhow, closer to $6, $7 within the next 2-3 years. And so that would be a really cash cow, your company. That is also for sure. Arizona is a very dry state. How do you see water management, the water you need for the production? Do you have like a water circulation recreation? And I can imagine that you have a very favorable infrastructure, right?
Yeah, on the water, we currently have a water permit to take water for the next 50 years, which obviously is well beyond the current life of mine. The other good news is that we have wells on surface that make water all year round. And the readings from the well give us indication that we have more than enough water for our annual water consumption. In fact, the permit itself is rated for 3,700 acre feet per year. And when we do our water balance over the 18 years, we're only using a maximum of 1,200 acre feet per year. So the permit is actually almost 3 times larger than our actual water requirement. The good news as well is we have a very strong aquifer that runs below the mine workings, approximately 2,000 feet below surface. And as I said, from the wells on site, we get very good readings from that water, from that aquifer. The other thing to note for your listeners is that obviously in Arizona, water is critical. And there's been a lot of talk recently about restrictions potentially coming from the Colorado River, which ultimately feeds into Arizona. We do not draw any water from the Colorado River. And in fact, the water that we draw this aquifer from It has high metal content, particularly with chromium and selenium, and subsequently it is not fit for agricultural or farmland or livestock use. So the aquifer that we take our water from is only fit for industrial purpose and specifically mining. So I think that's good news as well, that we have access to water, more than enough water, and it's only fit for mining purposes. Of course, when we put this plan together, we will be developing a plan where we recycle as much of the water as possible, so we don't have to take water where possible from that aquifer, but we will recycle it.
Fantastic. Last question: who are your largest shareholders? What is management's share in the company?
Yeah, so our largest shareholders would be Tembo Capital. They're a private equity group out of London in the UK. They've participated in this IPO to the tune of almost 10 million Canadian dollars. And I think their total investment in the company, both when it was private and now that it's gone public, is approximately 30 million Canadian dollars. So today they would have a shareholding in the company of 38%. The current management and insiders of the company now control 5% of the company. And I've joined the company in early July of this year, and I put in initially $500,000 US. And my participation in the IPO was 2.1 million Canadian dollars. So today I have a total investment myself in the company of just under 3 million Canadian dollars.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of money, I would say, and highly appreciated. Fantastic. George, thank you very much for the insight into your wonderful company, and I have a very good feeling that we hear a lot from you next year.
Thank you, Johan.
Super, thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Precious Metal Summit Virtual here with Arizona Sonoran Copper, and you heard it like let's call it a brand new company. They just listed today and things are going extremely well. Tembo Capital has 38%, and also the management itself has a lot of skin in the game here. George by himself has put in almost $3 million into the company. This is always highly appreciated. And it looks like that we get here a beautiful copper producer within the next 3 to 4 years out of the United States, out of Arizona. And I could imagine it's a great company to look at. So I would suggest you do so. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.